And what I really want to know is, after you've kind of shared the nuance of your story and how there is a personal element to it, why do you think that a lot of major outlets still see it as controversial?
Because they don't want to accept it. Because if I faced a total backlash from the state and a total attempt to make me so toxic, to attack me, to demonise me, to slander me, to imprison me, to put a target on me with false labels, which is dangerous. We just saw what happened to Charlie Kirk. But why have I faced that? Because there was a national cover-up from government, police, leadership, everyone covered up the fact that a generation of Britain's daughters. Why did they cover it up? Because if we're allowed to accept the reality of what the problem is, uncontrolled mass immigration from Islamic nations, and only Islamic nations, because the Sikhs, the Jews are not, the Hindus are not. This is solely an Islamic issue, where in every town and city, now if the public were allowed to understand the scale of the problem, we would look to whose policy failures these were, and their government. It's the government who have failed us. They've allowed this. The police. So because all of them had dirty hands, which we now know, not from my opinion, but from government inquiries, from independent solicitor-led inquiries, we now know it was allowed to happen. They know it was happening. And when you say that out loud, when you say that in that small town with a 1.7% Muslim population, 200 Muslim men were identified by the police. That's 20% of the male Muslim population of that town. How many of them now living with pain and suffering? How many families have been broken and destroyed? Because of what? Because our government wished to hide it? Why did they wish to hide it? Because of their voters? Because they want the Islamic vote? That's how powerful it is. That's Labour care about power. So when Keir Starmer is about to make a decision to recognise the state of Palestine, know that he doesn't care. They let a generation of our daughters be in order not to upset that vote bank. So of course he's going to recognise Palestine if it keeps him 5 million votes. Remember, Keir Starmer got voted in off 9 million votes. If he loses the 5 million Muslims, they're finished. Labour are finished, so they will do everything to jump into bed. And then you've also got the fear element. Many in this country are fearful because if you speak up, do you know, speaking up on behalf of Israel, it's not easy. I don't blame Jews for remaining quiet. I don't blame Jews for remaining visibly not Jewish in the UK. It's a dangerous place. It's a dangerous issue to talk about because the vocal voice has been given to the opposition, but as we showed this Saturday, it's a minority. It's a very loud and vocal minority, but it's an ever-growing minority. And it's an ever-growing minority which we need to address right now because the problem's getting so bad for everybody. It's getting so bad, and unfortunately for the Jewish community, you can't vote in the power that they can. And that's what this comes down to. Just like in Luton, when I looked at the demographical change for Luton, I realised we don't matter anymore. To the Labour Party in my town, the future of this town is Islamic. So why are they going to listen to us? We don't keep them in power. So that's it.
Tommy Robinson, the far-right activist who has long styled himself as a defender of ordinary Britons against what he calls the failures of political elites, has re-emerged with a talk show appearance that reignites his most consistent theme: Islam as an existential problem for Britain's institutions and society. During the broadcast, Robinson painted himself as a victim of a state-led effort to silence him. He claimed to have been demonized, slandered, and even endangered by authorities who, in his telling, sought to make him toxic through imprisonment and labeling. "We just saw what happened to Charlie Kirk," he warned, positioning his own experience as part of a broader pattern of political persecution against right-wing voices. At the heart of Robinson's argument was the assertion that Britain's government, police, and local authorities deliberately covered up widespread sexual exploitation scandals involving British, Asian men whom he exclusively and repeatedly described as Muslim. Citing official inquiries, he alleged that a generation of Britain's daughters was sacrificed in order to protect Labour's political interests, claiming the party sought to preserve its electoral base among Muslim voters. This rhetoric is not new. Robinson has long argued that political leaders have put multicultural sensitivities and electoral calculations above safeguarding communities. But what stood out in this appearance was his attempt to link those historical scandals directly to present-day Labour leadership under Keir Starmer. Robinson accused Labour of tailoring foreign policy decisions, such as potential recognition of a Palestinian state, to appease what he portrayed as a powerful Muslim voting bloc. The argument blends two of Robinson's most persistent narratives: cultural demographic change and political betrayal. He evoked the example of Luton, his hometown, where he claims demographic shifts have rendered working-class white voters politically irrelevant. In his words, the future of this town is Islamic, a phrase that underscores his long-standing apocalyptic framing of immigration and integration. From a journalistic standpoint, Robinson's latest intervention raises several points of tension. First, it highlights the way issues of grooming gangs and institutional failures, topics documented in serious government inquiries, are repurposed into sweeping indictments of Britain's Muslim population as a whole. Second, it shows how foreign policy debates, such as Palestine recognition, are increasingly pulled into domestic cultural conflict. Finally, it underscores the enduring question of how Britain's political class should respond to Robinson himself. Ignore him as a marginal figure or confront his claims directly. While Robinson's show is unlikely to shift mainstream opinion overnight, it reflects an undercurrent that remains potent in British politics. His framing, government cover-ups, cultural betrayal, and political cowardice continues to resonate with audiences disillusioned with traditional In a moment where Labour is attempting to consolidate power under Starmer, Robinson's accusations that Labour has dirty hands and owes its future to 5 million Muslim votes serve as both provocation and political warning. The challenge for Britain's political leadership is not simply to dismiss Robinson's claims as bigotry, but to reckon with the real failures of institutions while preventing those failures from being weaponized into blanket attacks on entire communities. As his appearance shows, Robinson remains a lightning rod, an agitator who thrives on the space between fact, grievance, and political fear.
There is a little story on the front cover, a little bit lower down, about Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana. There's a clash.
Absolutely. Yeah, so your party, as it's called, not your party, but it's no, they haven't got a name yet. And in fact, Corbyn is proceeding very cautiously about actually launching it. But Sultana, who let the cat out of the bag on the initial launch before it seemed that all their ducks were in place, to mix my metaphors, has today actually launched a membership thing. So she sent out to the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who'd signed up for like to go on the email list. Sent them out a link saying, become a member, pay, how much is it, Chloe? It's 50 quid, is it, or something?
I think it's more than
more. We were just discussing how much it was.
55 or 65 quid.
Anyway, it's for a full one, and then suddenly Corbyn said, you haven't got the right to do that, you're not authorised, and told anybody who'd already set up a direct debit in the afternoon to cancel it. Yeah, so they've split it down the middle before they've even got a name.
I mean, let's not forget how this party started. You spoke of what Zara Sultana did very lightly, but what actually happened when this party started is there was a Zoom call held where they did a vote as to whether the party will be co-led by Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn or not. And the motion passed, one vote in the call, for them to co-lead the party, but Jeremy Corbyn hadn't agreed to it. And then they announced that the party has been formed and is being co-led by these two. And Corbyn was like, I haven't agreed to co-lead this party. What on earth is going on?
He wants to go on down his allotment.
It's completely insane. This woman thinks she can do whatever she wants without Jeremy Corbyn's permission.
And I think there's another thing, though, and Matthew, you might know this. I sort of get a feeling that Corbyn isn't really fully behind it. He's retired, really. He's sort of playing this and enjoying it. And she's a lot younger, and although we're on the opposite extremes of what we believe in, she's got a lot of fire. And
she's certainly got fire, absolutely.
You know, and I might, think that she is a political fruitcake, but I think she feels let down by Jeremy Corbyn, who's not actually using this moment to get going, and he should.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jeremy Corbyn, who is, I think, now in his 70s, unlike Trump, who wants wants to be president. I think Jeremy Corbyn wants to be, chair of the Allotment Society, which is where he spends his time. But interestingly, today, once the "Don't Join" message went out from Corbyn, she's now attacked it as a boys' club. So she's playing the
I hate
sexism
that whole
card.
thing. It's all to do with boys and not girls. No, it was a preemptive move.
So it was a
Sexist boy club. So she's crying sexism.
So it is absolutely hilarious.
Corbyn wasn't happy about her creating a whole membership portal without her permission.
So it's your party one and your party two already.
You always want to be a victim to all the left.
Obviously, that it's an old boys.
Absolutely.
He wouldn't want that, would he?
Yeah, no. I mean, and so they don't think there's room for Zoe Sultana's ego and the people around Corbyn, because I think people around Corbyn want Corbyn to do it, but I'm not sure he's convinced. So it's a mess.
There's not enough room for both of their egos, I think. What about